Hey everybody, and welcome back to my channel, where today we are going to be doing a full-length, non-spoilery review of Dial A For Aunties by Jess Q Sutanto. Now this is an adult contemporary family comedy kind of story, and we're following our main character of Medi, who has been set up on a blind date, and towards the end of this date she accidentally kills the guy, and so she goes to her mom and says help, and her mom calls her aunties, and the family all tries to figure out what to do with this dead body. And through unfortunate circumstances, this dead body accidentally gets shipped to the wedding venue that this family is going to be working at the next day. So they have to go and track down the body and try to get it away from everybody else and dispose before anybody figures out what has happened. And the story kind of goes from there. So first up, we are going to talk about our characters, starting with Medi, our main character. And Medi is a very typical pushover, but wants more, but isn't quite willing to be forward and really ask what she wants because maybe somebody's feelings will be hurt kind of character. It was just very, very typical, and I thought she was fine. I didn't love her, but I didn't hate her either. She does go through some development in this particular book, but it's also very typical of that particular character type, and so it was fine, but it didn't really draw me in. The next character that we're going to talk about is Nathan, and he's kind of the romantic interest, and I found him to be so bland. He was just really, like, all we know about him is that he's charming and Medi is really into him. And that's about it. So, again, fine, but not amazing. And then you have Ma and the aunties, and honestly, they're like a gaggle of older Asian ladies, and they feel very interchangeable. Now, we do have like a distinct thing about each person. Like, second aunt does Tai Chi when she gets stressed out, for instance. But like, other than that, they feel kind of interchangeable. That we don't get a whole lot of development of them. However, what I found incredibly compelling about this book is the interactions between the family members. It's like there's clearly like family, there's a lot of family history. So it's like big aunt and second aunt have a rivalry, and Medi doesn't know why. Ma and fourth aunt have a rivalry. Medi doesn't know why. There's all kinds of other relationships and how they interact with each other, and it's so good. And I think that the author did an amazing job capturing that essence of we love each other, but we drive each other nuts, but we love each other, because like it really did focus on the we love each other aspect. It didn't get too far into the why would you ever even stay together, or like stick around each other. You're just awful. But like they definitely snipe at each other and everything, but it's very clear that they still very much love each other, and it was so good to watch. And so I loved watching all these interactions. They were just so much fun. And adding to the layer of comedy and just fun is that this is a family that's trilingual. So Ma and the aunties, they speak fluent Mandarin and Indonesian, but Medi, she mostly understands Mandarin and Indonesian, but doesn't really speak it. She does speak English fluently, but the aunties and Ma, they mostly understand it, and they speak fairly broken English. And so there is a lot of miscommunication that kind of crops up naturally. And it was very realistic, and it was just kind of fun to watch. And I genuinely appreciate that the author was very good about making it that the situation itself was funny, and we weren't just laughing at the person for not understanding English as well as any of the languages that they grew up speaking. So I think that the author did a really good job with that, and I really appreciated it and just really had fun with that aspect of their interactions. So let's talk about the plot next. And so that main plot of like, we have a dead body, what do we do with it? I found it to be so interesting. It was fun and engaging. And yeah, you definitely have to suspend disbelief to some extent. But if you can do that, it is just so fun and it's funny. And there were a lot of twists to it that I wasn't really expecting. And there was drama, and it was the good kind of drama, the kind where you feel completely fine just grabbing a bag of popcorn and watching it unfold, because nothing is like super, super high stakes. You know it's going to be fine in the end. And so I really liked that. There were a couple of subplots going on, and I thought that they were also interesting and added to the main plot line in a very, very nice way. And they also had their own dramatic bits. Um, the one subplot that I didn't really get on with was the romance, actually. And it was just because it was fine. We didn't really see them come together as a couple as I would kind of expect from a true romance. And so I didn't really feel an emotional connection to either Medi or Nathan, and I didn't really feel a connection to them as a couple. The romance just ended up kind of to some extent falling flat for me, which is okay because the romance is not the main storyline. I very purposefully did not describe this as a romance because I don't think it is. It's much more of a family comedy with just this strong romantic element to it. Now, part of why I didn't get that strong connection for the romance has to do with the structure. And so for the first 100 pages, we're actually going back and forth. Like the chapters are going back and forth between present day and the past. And in those chapters set in the past, we first meet Nathan and we see basically the highlights of Medi and Nathan's relationship, so we understand the stakes and what kind of happened between them before he appears in present day. And that totally makes sense. But it means that we didn't really get to truly, because it was the highlights of their relationship. We didn't get to see them come together. I didn't have that emotional connection to them because like I didn't get to really see their emotional connection. And so the other thing that structure kind of did that I thought was a little odd is because we did that in the beginning, it put such a heavy emphasis on this relationship between Nathan and Medi that it felt like it really wanted to be this romance, but it wasn't, and I didn't quite know what to do with that. Ultimately, I don't think it's a romance, but it does have that strong romantic element, and just know going in that the first half is going to be especially strong because we're trying to set up this backstory of Medi and Nathan. Um, Other than that, this is an incredibly fast-paced novel. It's basically an adventure, just going from one problem to the next, trying to solve this and not get caught. And my only other real complaint is there were a couple of things that were included in this book that I don't think were completely necessary, but other than that, I actually really, really enjoyed my time with this. I thought it, like I said, I thought it was really fun and engaging, and I really liked the family dynamic that was going on. And honestly, I would be really happy to pick up Jess Q Sutanto's next novel, whatever that may be. But I ended up giving this book 4 stars. So that is it. Comment down below if you have read this, if you're interested in reading this. What did you think? What do you think about my thoughts? Let me know all the things. But that is all I have. So if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. And until next time, have happy reading, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.